I would like to call this board meeting to order. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. We welcome and appreciate your presence at this meeting of the Grand Rapids Public School Board of Education. We respectfully request individuals silence their cell phones and refrain from clapping, cheering, or making audible comments during the meeting. If you wish to formally address the board, please fill out the comment card, which is located at the entrance, and place the completed card in the provided basket. I will ask that tonight all cards be turned in by the end of our celebrations portion of the agenda. And I will determine the time limit at that time. It looks like it'll be 3 minutes. Can I please have Trustee Rodriguez call our roll?
Absolutely, thank you. Trustee Melton?
Present, sorry.
Trustee Moreno?
Present.
Trustee Rodriguez here. Trustee Williams?
Present.
Trustee Williamson?
Present.
Trustee Davis?
Present.
Trustee Kilpatrick?
Present.
VP Wade?
Present.
President Buchek?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First up is our legislative presentation.
We're going to invite Representative Glanville to the floor.
Hello.
Good to see you.
How are you doing, girl? I owe you a text.
Good to see you again.
Thanks for being here.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hey, girl. Good to see you. Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, student rep. Oh, that's right, you said you're there. Good. Great.
Do I have to push the button? Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Let me see what we got here. Look at that. So thank you so much for having me here today again. State Representative Carol Glanville, for the folks in the audience. I don't know, we have folks at home too? Are we on? Okay, all right. So, and I asked to be able to address you this evening to just kind of go over a high-level vision of the school aid budget, and I know there's probably going to be a lot of questions, and my staff is here as well, so if there's anything we can't cover this evening, we're happy, of course, to connect with you offline as well and answer any questions you might have or help you work through any of the processes. So what we're going to be looking at this evening is, right what it says here, a little bit of an overview and the funding changes that we saw, some of the increases in new investments, some of the reductions and eliminations, and a little bit of the boilerplate and policy changes that we are confronting at this time. So again, this is a very, as you well know, this is a hundreds of pages document, and I tried to pick, the top line for you. So let me see. So first of all, overview and funding changes. So the budget makes appropriations for those just to the state's 537 local school districts, 285 public school academies, which are our charter schools, of course, and the 56 intermediate school districts for a total of roughly $24.1 billion. And what we saw this year in the budget that I think everybody was very excited about was the foundation allowance increase. There was an increase, a gross increase of 59.3 or 593.5 million, which averages out across the districts to roughly $442 per pupil. Which was the increase in the foundation allowance. I know you all are very familiar with this because you've just been through your budget your contract negotiations, and we'll talk a little bit more about that foundation allowance when we get to the boilerplate changes and some of the other things. But on paper and dollar-wise, this is what it looks like. We went from $9,608 to $10,050 per pupil. And that amount also went with cyber schools, which in the past have not received the same amount, also RPS. So we increased, there was quite a significant increase for some of our other schools. And then the MIPSR's funding reduction, and this what kind of plays into this foundation allowance piece. We reduced the state support for MIPSR's by $659.3 million. So that weighed against the foundation allowance. Like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Another key piece to funding for our schools this year was the transportation, AKA road funding package. And so the way that that worked out roughly for our schools is the school aid fund took a $414 million hit overall. The general fund, which funds the whole rest of the state, took a $458 million hit, and transportation money got then moved into the transportation or road funding package to the tune of $1.1 billion, almost $1.2 billion. And for folks at home who aren't used to these kinds of numbers, it's really significant, but also notable that the $1.2 billion for roads is not the amount that we need. We are still a couple of billion, with a B, short on what we need to fund our roads adequately, or for the long haul. No pun intended. So some increases in new investments that we saw of note. Overall, there was a $7.3 million estimated increase to funding for GRPS, $203,000 for special education, $684 for bilingual ed, and about $510 for mental health and school safety programs, and that's kind of what breaks down specifically for GRPS. Additional funding coming into our schools in general, universal school meals, we were able to hold on to that program, which I'm very pleased about. I think we all know the importance of meals for our kiddos, for their ability to learn, for behavior issues, all of those good things. It also helps with absenteeism. So we know the value of school meals, and I'm pleased that we were able to continue funding universal school meals. And we did expand those out to our non-public schools as well. But I just want to note here that the non-public school portion of that does not come from school aid, because school aid dollars can only be used on our public schools. Mental health and safety grants, $321 million, and I will talk about that again in a minute when we talk about some of the boilerplate stuff. And this can go towards mental health, school safety resource officers and staff over 4 years. And again, non-public schools are invited to participate in this program. They have to follow all the same requirements for the grant funding and things that our public schools do. But again, they will have access to the same type of funding. And then we did continue with the infrastructure and consolidation funding, which again will be competitive grants. So I encourage the board to if we can work with you as a legislative team across all of the representatives and senators that we have in the area to make sure that GRPS can get their ask in early, and we get all the supporting documents we need to facilitate some kind of funding for consolidation, because I know that is top of mind for you all. Additionally, we did have some money spread out for CTE programs in underserved areas, Grow Your Own Educator programs. There's been incentives to reduce K-3 class sizes, particularly in urban areas, and some data integration money, so moved some things around there. Under reductions and eliminations, there were reductions to MIPSR's and the one-time reserve fund, a lot of the roll-ups. And so, again, for folks at home, categories within the state budget that go towards specific funding. There's a large group of funding that falls under something called Section 99, and those tend to be things like funding for math, like those where we get statewide licensing, so tie into those at a much not free rate. those were rolled up instead of naming individual groups or individual programs that are being paid for. There's now just a bucket of money that can be as folks may see fit or may request it. So it's not automatically going to a specific vendor, but rather money might be available to get into a competitive grant. And so we can, again, discussion around that if that's something that you all need to understand better or investigate more for how that benefits GRPS. We can dive into that, maybe not tonight, but as we get into those conversations.
What was the name of that?
That is, hang on, it's just one-time fund, it's section 99. Yeah, so section 99, for the most part, there are other areas where we rolled up some funding, but for the most part, it's section 99 that carves out for all of those independent types of programs. Some of them are through vendors, some of them are just maybe some nonprofit partnerships and things like that that are specific to different areas in the state. In my opinion, valuable programs that got rolled up or removed from the budget, and we'll get to those in just a minute. And here they are. Programs were cut by $1.8 million. College and career preparation for MCAN, which is a college access network, lost $1 million. Our were completely wiped out, $7.6 million, which is pulling down other money. And so I believe of funding for STEM education. Locally grown produce program was cut completely, so $4.5 million. That I thought was difficult, given the push for healthier foods for our kids. And then also hoping to lift the education of agriculture and how it impacts us, and of course the partnerships we had with local farms, all of our schools statewide. So that partnership, for the moment, is no longer. The West Michigan Teacher Collaborative and the Michigan Education Corps were both cut, $7 million, $5 million. I know that's a place that folks here on the west side of the state, and particularly in our urban school areas, so GRPS, you're losing access to teacher pipeline and folks who are being specifically trained to work in urban education areas. So again, a loss that we're hoping to regain in the next cycle. So some boilerplate and, this wasn't the updated version. Okay, I missed a slide for you all. So I'll make sure that you get it and explain it out. But a couple of things I wanted to about 31AA. So 164K, this is a really important area to pay attention to when we look at funding for our schools, because you see that it says MDE will withhold 5% of the recipient state aid payment, so that's the for noncompliance in any of requirements, and those are requirements regarding school meals, so anything that comes from the feds if you're not as your state school aid, that all students complete the federal meals. I'm not sure that's a problem here in Grand Rapids, but in many districts we have parents comfortable filling that out. Privacy reasons, environmental information reasons, and things like this, and so that is something I would caution you about. Be aware of that piece. There's a prohibition against student financial incentives for attending on count days, so you can't, pay kids to come to school on count day, which I know some schools have piloted to success. A requirement that student survey questions be public. Requirement that districts not using MDE designated, don't worry about this one.
Things that are taking place across our nation and people supplying information.
Yes.
Can you unpack that a little bit, and even suggestions what that means for schools that they don't, is there a requirement of 100%, 85%, what does it look like?
Yeah, from what I understand, that is a 100% requirement. However, I know a number of districts that have that. Like you said, there's always a group of parents who are uncomfortable sharing information with the government for whatever reason. And, regardless of the climate of the country, and we've seen that, increase recently but or there are parents who say, well, I don't need it, so I don't need to fill that out. The government doesn't need my information because I'm not even participating in the program and things like this. So there's been a lot of pushback across the state, so I am not 100% sure where that has landed. To my knowledge, there's no active litigation, but it's not clear for me. I'm not sure that the rules have actually been written through MDE yet. That's something to follow up on. And as a reminder, we just, completed this a couple of months. So some of these pieces are filling out, but I know there certainly have been questions, and I'll be happy to come back with a little bit more information around that for you all, and how you can handle that. Okay. The new compensation requirement. So this is another interesting one. It provides intent, and I'm not sure what that means, but provides intent that districts make permanent increases to educator and staff compensation with prioritization for starting salaries. Foundation allowance is increased. So again, I know you just went through your contract negotiations, and I know in a year like this, where it looked like dollars on the budget were a significant 64 request these earmark funds. Earlier, that GRPS has counted on in the past and would like to continue to see requests. We need to start working and on time prior to the budget. Would be, what would that be, April, late April, early May? Yeah, because June 30th is our budget deadline. So just making sure if there's anything in there that we, like I said, again, have that requested. Not a guarantee, of course, but that we have everything lined up and all the paperwork we need for that. And then the last one, and I'm sorry, I added this slide a little bit late in the game, but I wanted to talk about 31AA just a little bit here. So let me get to that one. That's what happens when you do your homework at the last minute. Hang on a second. Do you have, hey Steve, do you have the 31AA, the slide? Yeah. All right. Like I said, I'll make sure I send this over too so you have it all. The 31AA, that is the school safety dollars that were kind of a new category this year. And so currently those are in litigation, right? And the most recent decision on that was that schools would have until December 4th. They extended the deadline from the end of November to December 4th, which of course was last week. My understanding is that all schools are currently opted in, and that the court will be making a decision by December 19th. And in the event that their decision, you may rescind your opt-in if you so choose after the decision on the 19th. And just to make sure everybody understands, the concerns here are that in the language for the boilerplate for 31AA, It forces the schools to waive, quote, any privilege that may otherwise protect information from disclosure in the event of a mass casualty event. And the intent, of course, is to, and what they mean really by mass casualty event is some kind of school shooting or event such as that. But because there's no actual definition for mass casualty event, it could also encompass routine but serious incidents. For example, if there are multiple injuries at an athletic event, let's say a portion of bleachers were to collapse, or which would never happen at our new field. But, or if there were a bus accident or something like this, right? And then it also jeopardizes the compliance that schools are supposed to follow in terms of things like FERPA, FOIA, and the Open Meetings Act, because you're being forced to provide all of this information that would normally be protected under these federal laws. In addition, with the Open Meetings Act, anything that you were trying to do in a closed-door meeting, if you were responding to some sort of emergency event, that you may not want to share the details with the general public until you have the details, you would not be able to do that. So there are some significant concerns from our school district leaders, our ISDs, around this, and they are currently working through the court system to have that clarified. But again, it could result in a very difficult decision for you all as board members, because if the ruling does not come down in the favor of our school districts, then schools are in a position where they will have to decide to either give up the privacy rights or lose millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars for school safety and mental health. So that's the situation today. Hopefully before we for Christmas, we'll have some resolution on that, and things will be a little bit clearer. So that's kind of the overview I wanted to give. I'm happy to answer any questions you might, or attempt to answer any questions you might have, explain things a little bit more if you want even some questions about the process. I'm happy to dive into that a little bit. I do serve as the minority vice chair on the school aid committee and MDE. I was also on what they call conference committee this year as part of the appropriations committee. So I was part of the team that passed the final budgets onto the floor for a vote. So a little bit more in the mix maybe than some others. So if you have any questions.
I don't know that it's a question, but we've talked before about wanting some clarity as well on what a survey entails for that portion of, I think it's in 164K.
Yep. Yeah, okay, I will get on that.
Like, how do we define student survey?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I really appreciate the surveys that we do here around the school, around mental health for our students, and what makes them successful. So I would hope that we can continue that with some privacy, right? Anonymity maybe is a better word.
Well, thank you for this presentation. It's always good to know more about the budget and what we have to work with and have to contend with as well. So you mentioned that we're about $2 billion underfunded for our roads. And Michigan Education Justice Coalition, and maybe you also agree that we're underfunded by about $4.5 billion for our schools.
Yep.
So when we talk about things that are underfunded, right, are we talking about prioritizing the wrong thing? Are we talking about not enough money in our Michigan state budget? Are we talking about both? Can you clarify for me?
So, I mean, you have to understand, for us as a state legislature, we're responsible for all the things.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we are responsible for making sure we have adequate infrastructure, adequate schools, adequate health care, adequate environmental protections that our farmers and our veterans and our state police and our corrections, like, we have to, so when we talk about priorities, I would say we have to really approach it from the sense that all of those things are our priorities. That is the job that we are elected to do. And then what we need to figure out is how we do that, and what You know, so then, I don't want to necessarily say it's a priority, but what the collective has the willingness to do. And as you all know, I am a fervent supporter of education and funding for education, and I am not afraid to say that you can never spend, there's no such thing as spending too much money on education. So I would be the first to line up and say, let's do it. But it's not about my willingness, it's the collective willingness. And so, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. If we wanted to fund our schools, we could do that. But it would mean making cuts in other places, or it would mean raising revenue, which is raising taxes. So it's not just our willingness, but also the willingness of the people of the state of Michigan to chip in or to buy into that system. So that's where the difficulties lie, is in pulling 10 million people together and get us all rowing the boat in the same direction. So I appreciate the work that you all do in your advocacy. And you know, the more that you can continue to collaborate with us, share with us, that constituents can reach out, you know, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with what's being done. We need all of those voices in order to help make good decisions that people will, you know, for the most part, if they don't agree with them or they're not happy, at least they understand why. And I think that's at the heart of it. So yes, and the $4.5 billion, yes, we are underfunded annually. That's part of the School Finance Research Collaborative. If you haven't dug into the SFRC, that's a good place to get some information about funding for schools across the state of Michigan, where we're deficient, some ideas for where we can move some money, you know, things like that. The impacts of Prop A, how inflation has impacted our school dollars, all of those things are included there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to say, Representative, thank you so much. This budget had its challenges, but thank you for being a strong advocate for public education and GRPS in particular. So thanks for coming and presenting to us and all the work you're doing.
Yes, and I appreciate your diplomacy there.
Yeah.
But certainly, like I said, do not be shy in speaking up. One thing that I would love, you know, you may have heard that there's been, I don't know if you've heard, there's been some talk about a supplemental. So supplemental, we add or change the appropriations bill in some, so we're kind of tweaking it on the back end. It can involve additional investments. It can involve changes to boilerplate. I don't know that we have extra money this year that we would necessarily be moving money in, especially as we're looking at what's coming down from the feds. We need to protect, you know, we don't know what's coming. So holding on to whatever money, you know, and we have money in our rainy day fund, the state's not broke. But you know, maintaining that. But what I mean to say is I think there is a lot of opportunity to clean up the boilerplate language in this budget, not just in the education budget, but across the board. So I would hope that we are going to do that, but I have not, I have not had word that that is going to happen. So again, if that's something that you think is important, that we clarify some of the things here, please reach out to representatives, to folks who can advocate for you in Lansing outside of just your elected officials, to push forward that, you know, that desire, if that is something that you would like to do as a board or as constituents here in the district. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time this evening. I really appreciate what you do. I know it's not easy being an elected official, so thank you for your service.
You as well.
Thank you.
And yours.
Okay, we are moving into negotiations team update.
Yep.
So Trustee Rodriguez, if you could read us in.
Yes, ma'am. Yep, so I move that the board go into closed session for the purpose of a strategy and negotiation session connected with negotiations of various collective bargaining groups at the request of the superintendent as permitted by Open Meetings Act, Section 81C. Now we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Trustee Melton,
Yes.
Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez, yes. Trustee Williams.
Yes. Did we need a second for the
We do.
motion?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'll second the motion and now I'm a yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Trustee Williamson.
Yes.
Trustee Davis. Yes. Trustee Kilpatrick.
Yes.
VP Wade,
Yes.
President Buchek.
Yes.
That motion passed. I was just so excited to get into this conversation. Thank you.
Okay, we will move into closed. Of this portion of the agenda, please. Thank you. Dr. Roby?
If I can have Mrs. Kelly Green and Mr. Dan Van Til come forward to talk about the holiday card.
Good evening,
Hello?
Dr. Roby and President Buchek and esteemed school board members. I am Kelly Green, and I am the Chief Area Instructional Leader for the Northwest, as well as the Fine Arts, Health, and PE departments. And this evening, it's my pleasure to introduce our Director of the Fine Arts and Health and PE departments, Mr. Dan Van Til. And Mr. Van Til is going to present the school board and superintendent's holiday e-card. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Van Til.
Hello, Dr. Roby, President Buchek, other members of the board. It's my pleasure to present the Thank you all for your continued support of this annual tradition. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you.
Our next celebration will be with respect to our fall sports, and so if I can invite Mr. Larry Johnson forward, and also our athletic directors, from both Union and Ottawa Hills High Schools. And I guess I should have said their names, I'm sorry. Mr. Justin Walker and
President Buchek, Dr. Roby, Superintendent, and other board trustees. I think these two gentlemen don't really need an introduction. Marcus Harris, the AD here at Ottawa Hills High School, and Justin Walker, the athletic director at Union High School. They're here tonight to give an overview of our fall sports and some of the accomplishments of some of our scholar athletes. So.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Thank you. I'm honored to be able to be here and present a brief athletic report which reflects not only the accomplishments that our scholar athletes had in the field of competition, but also the impact they were able to make in the classroom as well in their community. This fall season, we had 10 all-conference athletes and 5 honorable mention athletes. In soccer, we had 5 academic all-district student scholar athletes, and then 4 first-team all-district scholar athletes. In volleyball, we had one honorable mention, and then in tennis, we had 2 conference all-conference scholar athletes, as well as an all-region team selection. The tennis team is an academic all-state. This year, they were second place. Out of 327 teams, we are number 2 academically across the state of Michigan for Division I schools, so that is a huge accomplishment. For cross country, we had an honorable mention as well. Football, we had 2 all-conference athletes and 1 honorable mention. In swim and dive, we had 1 conference athlete, 9 conference finalists, and Tanaya Ott, who was a state qualifier for dive for the Red Hawks this year. Lady Redhawks also set 25 personal best records this year in their competition. Lastly, before I turn it over to Mr. Harris, this fall the Union Scholar athletes have compiled over 400 hours of community service amongst our student athletes. So that is a great accomplishment to the work that they are doing both again in the classroom and competition and in their community. Mr. Harris.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Roby, President Buchek, board members. Thank you for having me here today to talk about the Ottawa Hills Bengals and some of the highlights from the fall this past OK White Conference. We had all conference selection, 2 honorable mention. Cross country, coached by Ebright, had another successful season in which they had 4 student athletes that earned all conference. We had a state qualifier, Madeline, who had qualified for the state. She ran a personal best and finished much higher than she was ranked this year. This was Madeline's 2nd trip to the state finals, and this marks the 11th year in a row that Ottawa Hills cross country has had someone compete at the state finals. So Dan Ebright has done a wonderful job. Volleyball, we had 1 honorable mention athlete. Also, our volleyball program coached by Melina Strelo. This is the GRPS youth volleyball program, grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Also the middle school program. And this year we had 75 girls that came out for volleyball program. OK White, where there's state-ranked teams all across, but our girls competed very well this year. In girls swimming, we had 5 all-conference athletes in girls swimming, and we sent 9 swimmers to the state finals this year, and they competed very, very well. Also, we had 1 soccer player, 1 tennis player, and 2 football players made all conference and 1 honorable mention. Also, Katie Kerr also broke 2 school records at the state finals in the 50 free and the 100 free. And the Ottawa Hills women's team 20th in the Division I state finals, tying their highest history. So I thank you for having us here today, and we're off and running with winter sports now. Got basketball games, today and tomorrow, and so hopefully we see you guys out. Thank you.
Any questions?
Do you want to talk about the upcoming Union Ottawa Hills game over the winter break?
Yes, December 23rd at Van Andel Arena, the Union Red Hawks and Ottawa Hills Bengals will be competing against each other at the Van Andel Arena. This is the first time they play each other at the arena, and so we're just encouraging all of our families and friends and staff to come out over the holiday break to watch that game. I believe you guys are up at 5?
Varsity girls, 5 o'clock. Varsity completion.
So it's a great opportunity to get our kids some great exposure playing on that particular court.
Where do you get
downtown.
tickets for that?
Tickets can be purchased from the Van Andel Arena. I believe you can go online as well and purchase.
Yeah, you can purchase them at Van Andel, but we're also working with our communications office, who's has a flyer with the link for ticket sales as well.
Cool.
Yeah, they will not accept any of our passes for this particular event, but tickets are only $5, so we'll make those available.
Fun.
Congratulations on all the success of the players. These aren't questions I want to ask today, but I'm interested in athletics, of course, but I think that for a lot of reasons, I think athletics are something that can drive people to our district. And so some of the things as a board member, I wonder when I go to the games, one of the things I always wonder is what schools are represented on this team. And so that's some things that interest me as a board member are what schools are playing where, what students are, I guess, choosing and how they choose a school to play for, how it's offered to them. Is it because they go live on this side of town or go to school on this side? And also, I guess I'd like to hear about successes outside of the court per se, or the field, but things that our athletics is doing that I hear about is a major fundraising success. I watched on Facebook where a group of people did a huge fundraiser basketball team, their girls basketball team. I thought that was really good. I guess I'm reporting out. And then just hearing about community support around our athletics and how community can be more supportive of athletic teams specifically or as a whole for the school, and then different fundraising initiatives. I guess whether it's a email or something like that, but that's something that I think I would like to hear. I'm not sure about everybody, but it interests me because it's a way that we can support and better know about athletics that's going on.
Yeah,
That's a fair
sorry.
question, and I think that tonight they were prepared to talk about the celebrations, and we can put together a comprehensive a list of activities that all teams been involved in, and some of the things they're going to be involved in the future.
And I was glad to hear about the community service. Love to hear more about that too.
Yeah, I loved hearing about the elementary volleyball program and the numbers that we get from things like that. And I agree with Ms. Wade. Celebrations aren't just about score to all conference. I think I see the of ways through my kids participating throughout the years, and I'm just proud of things like the elementary. I think that gets a lot of kids involved, and it sounds like it's growing our secondary teams. So those are huge celebrations in my mind.
I do want to add that I love that the band is coming to the football games. It's bringing out the crowd. I noticed. I don't remember last year if they were playing at all the games, but the football games that I've come to, the band was there playing. I think that really added a great spark to our football games and getting people out. So congratulations. Proud at your football games.
Good job, guys.
Another thing I would add, and this is sports adjacent, so I'm saying it's sports adjacent. We had on Thursday of last week, the GR Montessori Elementary Choir got to sing the national anthem for the GR Gold, and they were super excited to be on the floor of the Van Andel and watch kind of the beginnings of the warm-up drills. And I just wanted to kind of lift that up for how we're seeing lots of different things that are, again, related to athletics, but not necessarily a direct correlation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final celebration is with respect to and allowing our staff to experience other cultures and communities. And so I will bring forward Dr. Lovelady Mitchell.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Buchek, distinguished board members. I have the distinct honor of amplifying our Nellie H. Stevens Award. It is usually awarded once a year. It is through partnership with the Grand Rapids Community Foundation, where we award an educator who has the intention of traveling abroad, usually during the summer months, who has the intention of bringing back the learning and exposing their students to the wide, vast world. And what's even sweeter is that sitting beside me, I have a 29-year-old seasoned teacher, all Grand Rapids Public Schools. I think that alone deserves a round of applause. 29 years.
I'm not 29 though.
We weren't gonna tell anybody. We didn't know. So 29 years of teaching a Kent County native, just to clarify. She teaches some of our youngest scholars. Grandma was prophetic and sane. I think you should go into education. Grandma was right 29 years later. We have Mrs. Christy Raymond in front of us, and she's even giving birth to another generation of educators in her children, or at least her daughter. And so without further ado, I'm going to ask her to talk a little bit about some of the things that she's thought about related to how she's bringing back her travels, share a little bit about where you went, and the award, if I was not clear about that, $1,500 in reimbursement for the trip that she took this past summer. So what might you want to share?
So I do work at Southwest Elementary, Academia Bilingüe. And this summer, my husband and I traveled on a cruise, but we did leave from Venice, Italy, and then went to Athens, Greece, and Santorini, Greece. We also went to Croatia. We went to Dubrovnik, Croatia, and Zadar, Croatia. And yes, I do work with some very young children, but they love to learn about the world. They love to learn about faraway places and flags and maps. And one of our standards is actually to learn about the American flag, but I can take it a step further and we can learn about different flags of the places that I've been. And because we are a language school, we can tie it into the languages that they speak in those different countries, and about empathy for different cultures and the different foods that I enjoyed while we were, and my husband enjoyed on the cruise. One thing that was kind of fun that we did, we learned about different traditions, different cultures, and I'm starting a photo book. I'm almost done with it. I've been through about 3 cities. It's taking a while because it takes so many pictures, but I'm planning on bringing that in, showing it to the kids, almost like a little video presentation, to take them on a trip with me, because I can't take them with me there, but the photo book will bring that to life for them. So I'm excited to do that. So thank you.
So we do this annually, and while I can't pinpoint how long it's been happening, I have seen some things that would suggest at least for a decade. And so we hope to do it again this upcoming year, and we've talked a little bit about how we ensure we get even more folks eager to do this very thing. What questions might you have, if any?
I don't have a question, but I knew I remembered your name, and I don't think you had my kids at Southwest, but one of my kids really wanted to be in your class. I don't know what grade it was, but I'm like, Miss Wayman, I know that name. But so you must be a really cool teacher, because she was like, I wanted Miss Wayman. It was so cute.
That's great.
Thank you.
Again, I think that the fact that she's been in education 29 years, Grand Rapids Public Schools, is a celebration in its. So a round of applause for our 29-year-old veteran.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our celebrations.
Okay, Scholar Representatives report. So we have RJ Beasley with us. RJ, do you have anything you want to share?
The only thing I got to share is the Superintendent Scholar Advisory Council will be at Kids Food Basket this Wednesday. I announced that I won the Junior Giants Awards.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our report outs. Secretary, have one tonight?
Nope.
City Board Liaison, that's me. So, thank you. Things from our meeting a couple of weeks ago. Hold on, I gotta, okay. Alex Smart gave an update on the work that we are doing with JLL and shared that with those representatives from the city who were there as well. The work on Alexander and Stocking specifically. Right now, staff's going through all the interested parties thus far, and JLL has broker opinions of value for those buildings. A draft RFP is in review, and he shared the progress that they're making with community engagement process. January coming up in about a month, there are community meetings for each building where people can come in and inquire. I believe Stocking will be held at Stocking, but Alexander will be held at MLK or at Franklin campus.
I don't recall the location, but we'll make sure
Okay.
that we share that.
Because that building isn't of standing for a community meeting. And then RFP submissions will be due in early April. We also had an update on the turkey trot, but that was prior to the turkey trot. I heard it was very successful.
It was.
And the city gave just some details about their strategic plan efforts, just an overview of their values and their new community master. They emphasized the equity lens that they're taking into all city operations, the land use collaboration with the schools, emphasizing housing affordability initiatives, and strengthening their communication and engagement. There was some discussion with all of us at the table on concerns within the immigrant community regarding ICE and how we can acknowledge the valid fears in the community without causing unnecessary alarm. And so just affirmed the commitment to each other to keep information timely, to be sharing what we know and coordinating responses when things do come up. And then we also got our community's children report, and there was a video shown on the Grow 1000 program. There is much more details in the minutes if anybody's interested. Okay, Finance Committee update, Ms. Williams.
Alrighty. Alrighty, for Finance Committee, a few of these items are coming before the board tonight, such as the purchasing agenda and understanding of the bond refunding resolution is also part of the our discussion from our Finance Committee. We also talked about donations again from different entities that I believe are coming up on our agenda later. And then lastly, it was fairly short and brief, which is we didn't have a whole lot, but we also talked about our October 2025 financial statements. At that meeting, Ms. Cribbs noted the October memorandum had been added to a chart for increased, I want to make sure, readability for us. So that is basically the work that we did in our Finance Committee. So those items are coming forward today.
Thank you. And Facilities Committee update?
Okay.
I know you
and
just had that meeting.
We did just have that meeting. So in that meeting, we had a presentation from both Plant Moran Cressa and JLL. We, in our facilities master plan, we received some updates with regards to our bond use dollars, activities that are completed, as well as activities that are still ongoing and underway. And then there was a presentation from JLL, which talked about kind of our buildings that are functionally obsolete. They are just buildings that we just really can't do what we would like to do with them. So the property can't really be changed or updated too much, and so that's a part of our reduction. We also 8 particular board has kind of laid out there that we can do and proceed with utilizing this process that we are working through to try to look at for all 8 of the properties. We are not set on what a timeline looks like on how we'll continue to bring properties forward, but we know for sure that we're starting with Stocking and Alexander. We also talked about updates on leases. So we know that of some of those buildings, those 8 buildings, we do have tenants in those buildings. And so there are conversations that are being had with those tenants as to what we will be utilizing the properties for in the future, and there will be clauses added to any updated leases that will give us an out if we need to move forward faster with those properties. And then lastly, and I think really important, we did receive some thoughts with regards as to how to proceed with the Montessori, so there is a proposal, and there'll be some communication to try to get some feedback from families around what we will do with the Montessori program, specifically Riverside, and whether or not we'll kind of keep the elementary separate and then do a high school situation. So it is some initial wonderings underway, and we're trying to receive some feedback, but there's no decisions that have been firmly made in that regard. So I do want to be clear about that, but there is going to be some letters going out to try to seek some feedback around this initial kind of thought about what we could do to make sure that we provide our Montessori families with a separate space that will allow them to grow, as well as allow Innovation Central to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have on here an opportunity for you, Mrs. Walton, to share any of the learnings you gathered at the MASB Leadership Conference.
Well, go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Oh.
I want to.
Got a lot of notes, but I'll try to keep it brief and concise. I found this to be very much a learning conference with regard to classes. This was my time attending this particular conference, so it was a lot of classes that I have signed up for. So this is a great conference for board colleagues to really get the educational background and a great networking conference. You are in this conference and in these classes with school board members from all over the state. And then there are different things that are shared about the conference, but my quick takeaway was that this is an annual statewide conference that provided us access to training opportunities that benefit the individual board member as well as the district from us gathering that learning. The conference topics included how we operate as a united team with the superintendent, understanding data, prioritizing team development, and knowledge building about boards overall and our governance. The conference was also
learn from fellow board members, take time to build personal relationships, and share lessons learned and best practices. Two of the classes that I attended quickly were conflict resolution and community relationships. I was also a delegate, and I wanted to share that the delegate assembly went well. There were some small proposals that failed, but all of those proposals were around equity and access to marginalized communities, and they failed. There was a lot of discussion from multiple different people, but in the end, all of those failed, and we decided to move forward with the bylaws language as it is currently written. And then again, lastly, this was a conference that provided great tools for public education for us to be able to utilize here in Grand Rapids, and then also have a voice at the state level through MASB.
Yeah, so I wanted to just be able to add on from the details, then the context of the leadership conference was really positive. Like Trustee Williams just said, there was some dissent among some of the little individual components we were there to vote on, but as a whole, all of the different sessions you could choose from, and of course all the keynotes were really positive, talking a lot about where we are today in education. So it was really helpful to kind of think within the context of this really difficult budget that had just been passed when we were there. And to still know that we have a vision to accomplish within school systems. And they talked a lot about, well, especially one speaker spoke a lot about the idea of betterment, that we're all here for the betterment of kids, but that when we really hone in on what does betterment look like and how do we get there together, it's kind of taking all these arrows that are all going generally forward and honing them into a specific direction. And I just, as you know, that always resonates with me. And another one of the things that stuck out was that idea that we all know why we're doing education, but the specifics about how are what we're working out together. And what an encouragement that we're in a space where we all know why we're here, and that's not true of most organizations, that we're all here for the betterment of students and their future lives. So yeah, it was really exciting to be a part of, to both learn the real specifics of some of the board work we do, to vote on the big picture things that happen at the state, and then to be inspired along the way. It's fun.
Thank you. Okay, superintendent's report. No report, okay. Public comment. Up first we have,
I'll read us in.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everyone. Today there's one public comment section on the meeting agenda, which accommodates both agenda and non-agenda items. Each comment period is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless otherwise directed by the board president, but today it will be 3 minutes. We ask the speakers refrain from making abusive or disrespectful statements about board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Should you have a complaint regarding a specific board member, employee, volunteer, or contractor, please utilize the appropriate process outlined in Board Policy 9450. Speakers will be invited to address the board one at a time. Before beginning your comment, please clearly state your full name for the official minutes. I will monitor your time with this beautiful timer that we have here, ensuring each speaker adheres to the allotted time of 3 minutes. You'll be asked to conclude your comments promptly when your time has expired. Board members do not respond during public comment. All concerns will be forwarded to the appropriate staff for consideration. We value your input and thank you for sharing with us tonight.
Okay, up first we have Kamir Brown, followed by Federico Brown.
Hello, my name is Kamir Brown. I go to Charlotte Hills Elementary. I would like to talk to you about our playground. When I was in the 4th and 2nd grade, we played in the rainbow playground. This playground was so much fun. Now that I am
Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Lady.
Loud and clear.
No, I am in the 3rd grade, and my brother Niger's in the 4th grade. We have to play in the teal and the purple and blue and white zones. These zones are not fun as the rainbow zone. We are asking the school district to help us make our school a better place to play in when we have a big field that we would like to use. We would like to have a soccer field and soccer equipment. We would like to have a place where we can play tug of war with bubble wands, jump ropes, and chalk. We would also like to have equipment inside indoor recesses days and have a bowling club and a shower shop where parents can buy us things after school. This is how we would like to change our environment. My brother and I would like to help our school be a better place.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kamir, can we have your note, because some of us, it was a little hard to understand, and if you can give it to Mrs. Anderson, she'll wave her hand so that we can, and we'll make sure that you get your note back. I just wanted to make sure that we caught everything. Is that okay?
She's right there. Thank you. Federica Brown, followed by Yolanda Howe.
Good evening, Madam Superintendent, Board Chairs, and Trustees. My name is Frederica Brown. I'd like to speak to you this evening as a parent from Shawmut Hills and Save Frost Middle High School, a parent family organizer, and a parent who knows what it feels to face anti-Black culture in our district. I first want to describe my experience and concerns as a parent at Shawmut. As you may know, the drawn-out contract negotiations have caused many of our educators and principals to leave our district. Our principal, unfortunately, was one of those principals, which left us without a principal at the beginning of the school year. We were appointed 2 substitute principals who were there no more than a month and a half after school resumed. We then got appointed an interim principal that is now currently at our school. Parents did not have any input on the selection process. When this is done and parents do not have a chance to have a voice, it can lead to an anarchical culture where policies and practices are put into place that are the sole decision of an administrator or of an interim principal. In October, the interim principal at our school implemented a policy that required parents and caregivers to walk their child in if they are tardy. The parent organizer in me voiced my opinion that parents were not included in the implementation of this new policy, but being that I actually agreed that this is a great way to implement not only safety, but also accountability for late students, I did not argue against it. It was the day that this policy came into effect that I knew why parent voice should have been included. I pulled up to my children's school on the first day of this new policy, and the interim principal decided to take it upon himself to open my car door and commence to tell me I must walk my children into school because they were 1 minute late. I was first appalled that he would have the audacity to even open my car door. Also, the fact that I was not greeted with any kind of humility had me walk in my children's school in pajama shorts and a t-shirt was also embarrassing and triggering for me. I am urging the school board to consider an addendum to our school board rules and policies to not only incorporate a parents' caregivers bill of rights, but to also make it practice and mandatory for the parents and caregivers and staff to have an equal amount of voice when key administrative staff, such as principals and executive directors, are considered for our schools. Now I would like to speak from my position as a parent organizer. I feel that information and communication are only accessible to parents, caregivers like myself who look for information. It would be nice to get robocalls or reminding us to attend school board meetings and how to give public comment. and inviting parents and caregivers to come out. Thank you.
Yolanda Howe, followed by Eliza Moody.
Hello, I'm Jolanda Howe, Jolanda Howe, parent of two GRPS students. To Dr. Roby and school board members, thank you for bringing us closer to a new contract agreement so our teachers can count on health insurance and a modest annual raise in salary. The recent GRPS news reported this proposal as a historic investment in educators, but according to the salary chart, the majority of our GRPS teachers will still be paid at the lowest level in Kent County. Dr. Roby said, "We are confident this agreement will help retain our exceptional teachers and staff while also attracting new educators to our district. Unfortunately, I don't share this confidence. How can we retain or recruit great teachers when surrounding districts like Northview, Comstock Park, Kentwood, Sparta, Wyoming, Lowell, Godfrey Lee, and others continue to offer higher pay? It's worth asking how we fell so far behind in teacher pay that we must dip into the fund balance to cover raises that still won't give our teachers or our district a competitive advantage over others. The answer has been consistently voiced by teachers during public comment time and was called out in the Eureka report. We are overspending on executive level positions. Money spent on redundant executive and administrative level positions might be the missing piece that would allow our district to robustly invest in staff salaries and classroom support, including more interventionalists. I urge you to carefully evaluate the roles of central office staff and ask, is this already being handled at the local school level? I'll highlight some examples. Our schools already have principals and administrative teams. Why do we also employ executive directors? These roles were specifically called out by the Eureka report as lacking clear purpose and value. Similarly, family engagement is already handled by principals, teachers, and PTOs through regular newsletters, family nights, and coffee with the principal. There are some central roles that are essential, like supporting English learners and ensuring access to transportation for students with unstable housing. Roles that increase equity and directly support students should absolutely remain. But it is unacceptable that we rank at the bottom in teacher salaries and vacancies while also ranking at the top of administrative and executive staff compared to nearby districts. That is a problem you need to solve. The board is responsible for thoroughly evaluating the budget and making necessary cuts. Please make it your top priority this year, in the coming year, to identify and eliminate redundancies in administrative and executive positions, so salary increases can continue in sustainable ways without relying on fund balance. I do not take this request lightly, but I see teachers stand before you consistently saying they lack not only salaries, but also resources for classroom support to help students, our kids, thrive. Please do the hard work of determining which roles are essential and which need to go, so we can invest in our students. Thanks.
Eliza Moody.
Hello, my name is Elisa Moody. I am coming here because I had a concern about the staff of the athletic department, and it's specifically Coach Shannon and how he tore my son down. I work hard to make sure my son is respectable and listening to his teachers, making good grades. He attends City High Middle School, but he plays sports here at Ottawa. Coach Shannon I really feel like he should not be leading our children, for the simple fact that instead of lifting them up and doing what coaches do, helping them where they are weak at, strengthening their skills, he's tearing them down, telling them that they're not good enough. And that's contradicting to what I'm building in my son for him as a black young man, for him to come to a school to play sports and a man is telling him he's not good enough, yelling at him, humiliating him, when he hasn't done anything disrespectful to that man or said anything. So that was just my main concern. I don't know if I addressed you all correctly. This is my first time coming here. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that I really don't feel like Coach Shannon needs to be leading our children if he don't know how to properly coach. When I spoke to him about the situation, he told me that the reason he yelled at my son is because my son asked him a question twice. I asked him to apologize, and he told me that there is no need for him to apologize because that's what coaches do. So when I told him that's not what coaches do, I have dealt with plenty of coaches that my son does track, football, basketball, and I've never heard of any of them tearing him down or telling him he's not good enough. Wherever he was weak with the skills of the sport, the coach, you know, helped him to come better or strengthen him to come better in the position that he played. I just really don't feel like he's a good fit to be leading other children, because if he did that to my son, I'm sure there's multiple other children or scholars that he has done this to. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That completes our public comment for tonight. We will move on to action items. First up is the acceptance of the EOP. I do know that we got some emails regarding this throughout the week, and I just wanted to highlight that we as a board did get quite a detailed information session, presentation on this during a closed session. It was held in closed session because of the sensitive nature of the emergency operation plans. There are details in that we don't want all of the public to be privy to in order to keep our staff and students safe. If this is accepted by the board tonight, I know the district will be moving forward with getting information on the emergency, is it the EMP?
Emergency Management Plan, and then also there is, so the EOP, to designate for people, includes everything for across our district, where safety valves are, where all the sorry?
I think they said something about boilers and all
Yeah,
of that.
boilers, all those things, and that's not something that the layperson would need to have information for that. And we also keep that very close with our local police department and sheriff's department, so if there's some emergency, they know all of the different entrances and pathways that might be used. The EMP, Emergency Management Plan, is specifically at the building level, so that be in an emergency, a flip chart, so to speak, and that allows for quick reference to the type of emergencies that they might likely deal with if someone is harmed, or if someone goes into cardiac, or any of those kinds of things, because we want to make sure that people have a quick reference guide for that. And so that's the difference between the various levels.
So tonight we're voting on the acceptance of the EOP, which will then begin the rollout for trainings and the emergency management plan as well. Do I have a motion, or first of all, do we have any conversation that needs to be had or questions prior to voting?
Just around like a mandate for everyone. I thought that was one of the things we had to like add in before we voted. This, I don't know, we can ask Mr. Johnson to come back for that clarity, or Dr. Roby, if you know.
A mandate
to
for
make sure that everyone gets trained on it.
So
As
the
part of
different, the various levels, of course. And so for building levels, that would be the responsibility of building principals. Their staff know how to use the flip chart and making sure that they are practicing some of those things. And you see that throughout the course of a school year with safety drills, fire drills, shelter-in-place drills and experiences. For the more advanced trainings, there's some offerings through professional learning, and then after-school opportunities that we are going to continue to explore, and then also try to expand some of those things, but that would be based on interest. With our building level leaders, everyone has to go through that level of training because that is usually about an 8-hour training.
I'd be interested for my colleagues to what it would take to get everyone to that level. I understand, I hear you, that's at 6 to 8 hours, but I think everyone being able to access something that's so, we made that investment, and I think it's really great. I haven't read it, but I really appreciated the presentation and the work towards it, so.
And it is open to people opt in, and so what that would require, because also we have bargaining, here's where it gets kind of layered, because based around our CBAs, we can contractually say that our staff do X number of trainings, and we could certainly do it, then we would be giving up some other kind of curricular types of trainings.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
To mandate that, yes.
Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the EOP?
So moved.
Second.
Who's go back?
It was Kim.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Purchasing agenda. Any questions, comments?
I will be recusing myself as a member or as an employee of Kent School Services Network that is on the agenda, purchasing agenda.
Same.
Thanks, Jose.
You're recusing yourself. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the purchasing agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The purchasing agenda addendum. Motion to approve the purchase.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The resolution reaffirming 31AA opt-in, just for clarification again, we decided at our work session that we are opting into this with the caveat that legal, we will have the opportunity to take that back, for lack of better words.
Based on the guidance that comes back from the court, the
Correct.
lawsuit, if
Yes.
it's not favorable, we can still
If it's not favorable to the school district.
To the district,
we'll
correct.
rescind it.
Rescind it. Thank you.
support.
Second. I second.
Support.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bond refunding resolution. Any questions, comments on this? No. Do I have a motion? Oh,
Sorry, just to clarify for my colleagues, we've already discussed this. Yes? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, this is just, returning money to getting a better rate on our bonds. So
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was clear to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
do I have a motion to approve the bond refunding resolution?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have any comments or questions on the annual summer property tax levy resolution? Do I have a motion to approve the annual summer property tax levy resolution?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And any questions, comments on the annual banking and investment resolution? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the annual banking and
So moved.
Support.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That completes our action items. Moving on to consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Support.
Thanks.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Tonight, I do not have any, well, I will put out there that there has been some talk between board members individually in regards to next year's executive board member positions. And so I would encourage you to continue having those conversations with colleagues. And the way that it works is that we will need to submit any recommendations to Julie in the next couple of weeks. So if you do want to move to have somebody in one of those positions, please reach out to Julie. If you have questions on that and you're a newer member, please reach out to those of us who have been through it, and we can answer any of those questions. I have had a couple board members ask that that gets put on our work session for kind of an overview of what each of those positions entails, so that we're all very clear about what the roles are, treasurer and secretary, so we can have that discussion as an agenda item at our work session on Monday. So please feel free to any questions specifically that you have, or bring those to the meeting and we can talk through that. I also put on the back burner our policy on reviewing policy because I think I only got information from Trustee Moreno. I apologize if someone else gave me information, but if you think of it, please send me what your hopes are for that policy so that we can make sure that we're staying true to our goals as a board. I want to make sure that we keep working on those and that they don't get put off until. And that's all I have for tonight. Superintendent comments?
Good evening once again, everyone. With respect to the roles for President, VP, Secretary, and Treasurer, my ask will be after the 15th is that names are submitted by the 19th because staff is going to be gone over the winter break, and to allow time for that information, if that's fair. Secondly, with respect to policies on we do have somewhat of a recommendation to kind of simplify that, so we're taking less work for the board, and that might include looking at either TRUN or Neola as our policy entity. That might help support that. And finally, just a reminder that our district office, again, has limited hours during the winter and the holiday breaks. We are going to make sure that we send information to our families over the breaks related to food supports and other supports, because we do recognize that sometimes this is a time, the holiday season is not always a celebration time for many families, and we want to make sure that we are connecting families to different resources in our community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, board member comments. I will start with Trustee Melton.
I'm just glad to see again that we'll be lifting this conversation around accessibility of our board meetings in a variety of different ways. One of the things I'd like to lift up today is the sound, and just how this space, maybe how we can offer a little bit more accessibility with sound and the microphone. If students or someone who needed some help with walking, it would be very difficult. So that would be important for me. In terms of policy review, I want to just lift up publicly again that we have some sort of feedback loop for those that are using the policy, and that would be anyone using the policy, and then that those impacted staff parties be represented in the process. So those are the two things I just want to keep lifting up with policy review. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Trustee Moreno?
VP Wade and I would like to invite you all as board members and colleagues to go to the basketball game at the Van Andel. So be on the lookout for an email. Hang out and cheer for both of our teams, all of our teams, all 4 teams. And then just again wanting to uplift our discussion from our last meeting around the resolution around the Invest in My Kids. I'm looking forward to seeing that hopefully in next week or next session. Awesome. Thank you.
Trustee Rodriguez?
No comment.
Trustee Wade? Or VP Wade?
So I'm embarrassed to say I had my first turkey trot and I totally underestimated the vibe. That was like one of the most fun things I did. And I was like, wow, I should have been coming to this. Even though I didn't run or walk, just being there was really fun and exciting. And I think the biggest takeaway was like, all these people are running for our kids and they could be watching the Macy's parade, they can be doing all types of things, but they probably love to run. So it's probably, just what they do, but it was for our children and our athletics, and I thought that was really dope that they decided to do that, and I was so happy to be there. And going to the basketball game, Eleanor took my comment, so that's all I have.
Okay. Trustee Williams?
I would just like to congratulate RJ on his Giants Award. Sir, we are so proud of you. Keep up the awesome work and all of the things that you're doing in the community. We just look forward to how you will impact Grand Rapids as you become a full-fledged adult when you leave the Grand Rapids Public Schools. We are just immensely proud, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for highlighting that. Trustee Williamson?
I just want to thank those who came to the Coffee with the Board. See, I'm getting all my dates mixed up. Was that last Monday? So thanks to those that came. I had some great conversations. 2 people asked me, like, we give public comment. When are we going to hear from the board? This is the time when you get to hear from us. So thanks to those who came to that. I've also been reflecting a lot on, coming up on a year on the board, all the work that we really have done. And I hope all 10 of us feel proud of what we've been able to accomplish and eager and excited for the stuff to come ahead. Exciting with the tentative agreement and approaching an agreement with the union, and then also some of the work we're going to have to do on this budget and the amendment coming up, and with our facilities and all these other things. And I've been reflecting a lot on it, and we've done some good work, and we have a lot more to do ahead. So thank you all for everybody on the board and everybody in the community.
Trustee Davis?
Yeah, definitely want to ditto that thanks, but also just wanted to acknowledge a quick appreciation of having the times on the agenda. I appreciated that addition, and I think it helped us stay on track and communicate that.
Thank you, Julie. Trustee Kilpatrick?
I also wanted to uplift Coffee with the Board. Thanks to those who came out. Thanks to those who had great ideas, questions, concerns. And I've sent those forward, and so hopefully responses will be coming soon. Also uplifting our scholar artists and scholar athletes and RJ, and also just wanted to uplift this mother who came for the first time and had to share something that was so important about her experience in our public schools and for her son and for mothers, and to show individuals that maybe you don't have all the steps in front of you for what to say, and it's and maybe that's our fault. Maybe we have to make it easier for folks to know how to get here and say what they need to say. So bravo to that mom. I don't know if she's still here, and I hope that we can follow up with her expediently.
Okay. That completes our board member comments. So this meeting